What's good, YouTube? This is KM.Little right here. I'm gonna be. What's good, YouTube? This is KM.Little right here. We're gonna be watching the worst cover up of my lifetime by Voidzilla. We're gonna be watching video on Jeffrey Epstein. Basically, the government has been hiding information about Jeffrey Epstein, and people think really it's because Donald Trump is included inside the Epstein files. So let's get straight into the video. But also, before we do that, make sure you go check out my Twitch so you can go see when I'm live, and if I'm not live right now, you can always just see. You can always just keep updated by just going to hit the follow button on my Twitch, so it'll let you know when I'm live. So I'm just going to get straight into the video.
This is the worst cover-up of my lifetime, the Epstein case. The reason I'm talking about it so much is because if you can get away with this, you really can get away with anything. If the government can tell people to not believe what they just said a few months ago and have everyone be fine with that, that's just a level of gaslighting that I refuse to be a part of. Never forget, they just promised us names in the release of the Epstein files.
Breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released.
What kind?
A lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable.
Yeah, well, apparently there are no names to be given. No list, no blackmail. Epstein has now been pushed as a lone trafficker. It's the lone trafficker theory, guys. Essentially, the government's memo that they just released contradicts everything we've seen before, and now basically implies that Epstein was trafficking to himself and Ghislaine Maxwell was trafficking to Epstein, and there was no other blackmail or trafficking going on. That's what this memo essentially implies. His wealth and his power then would be just from his skill as a New York financier.
I'm talking about Jeff Epstein, the New York financier.
Basically, he was the world's greatest tax advisor by day and the world's greatest trafficker at night to himself. And the rich and powerful people who all flocked to him and to his island had no idea of this double life. That really is kind of the heart of the modern theory, is that just all Epstein by himself, and then his friends just were there for his tax advice, despite not being a tax professional or a lawyer. Not only that, another huge revelation is the fact that really the government has increased the number of victims and decreased the number of perpetrators, right? We had the idea that there were these other perpetrators for a while, that they were just redacted because the government was building cases. Now we got pretty clear statements that there isn't evidence to bring future cases on third parties. But if you look at the original 2019 indictment, it says dozens of victims. This is from Ken Klippenstein. But the Epstein review says over 1,000 victims. So what happened, guys? And by the way, in the interim, they also increased the number to 200 to 250.
200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250 actually.
So we went from dozens to 200 to over 1,000 in the span of basically a year in terms of victims. We like 10x the number of victims. But now there's no perpetrators. Like the perpetrators have been reduced. That is the crazy thing about what they're implying here, what this lone trafficker theory is pushing forward. It's also strange because previously Epstein, in a court filing, is said to have provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. Case agent advised that no federal prosecution will occur in this matter as long as Epstein continues to uphold his agreement with the state of Florida. So apparently there was some deal where Epstein was providing information to the FBI. What information? We don't know because no one else was involved. There's also the simple fact that if you go to the FBI records, what they call the vault, most of the files are just heavily redacted. So the idea that we got some transparency wave is literally a joke. Yes, it is true. There's no Epstein list where there's like names written down, but names exist in documents, on videos, in images, and they're all redacted. What's going on here? They're going to say, oh, it's all for the victims, right? But it's not all victim names. In addition to that, this lone trafficker theory is already on shaky grounds when you think about Prince Andrew's settlement with Virginia Giuffre, where he paid $16 million to make civil sexual assault allegations go away. Now, of course, it's worth saying that he did not admit to guilt. This was a settlement, but that is what you're always going to have with these rich and powerful people. In the same way, you also have Leon Black, who reportedly paid $158 million over 5 years to Jeffrey Epstein for tax advice. And guess what? Leon Black, billionaire, also paid the U.S. Virgin Islands $62 million in cash as part of a settlement, a non-prosecution, where they wouldn't go after him for anything from, quote, any and all claims of any nature whatsoever, specifically related to Jeffrey Epstein. It's worth noting that $15 million of this cash payment will be going to counseling programs and activities or mental health services. You also have Jess Staley, the former boss of Barclays. He directly admitted to having sex with a member of Epstein's staff, which you would expect if someone was running a trafficking operation. Although, I just have to say that there was a statement that this was entirely consensual, and I'm not saying anything about that. I'm simply saying the idea that Epstein was just trafficking for himself is unlikely to be true, in my opinion. Later, Staley wrote to Epstein, "Say hi to Snow White." Epstein replied, "What character would you like next?" Staley responded, "Beauty and the Beast." And then Jeffrey Epstein said, "Well, one side is available." Obviously, some type of coded message. You can read into that for yourself, but all of this is public. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what makes the government's memo so infuriating, is so much reporting has already been done. These settlements with powerful figures, under denials, yes, but also under very questionable circumstances, make just...
See, this is the thing, though, right? It's like Donald Trump has been talking about, you know, this person, that person has a, like Prince Andrew or Bill Gates. Yeah, they're going to have a problem when I get inside the White House, or they got a problem coming up with the court cases and stuff like that. Then as soon as he get inside there, it's just like, you know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. You know, why you keep asking about it? See, my problem is if you include it inside there, why not just redact yourself from it and just release the files? But the problem is, I feel like if it comes down to a point to where, like, he can possibly, if he, like, since he's probably friends with these type of people and stuff like that, if it comes down to him releasing the files and he removes himself from the files and stuff like that, I feel like the people who probably comes out and be like, you know, Donald Trump was with it, he want to take us all down, but he was with it too, and all that type of stuff. I feel like that's the reason why he don't want to do it. And personally, I think that it's a guilt. It's guilt that's eating him away. Like he knows that if he end up getting, if the files end up getting released and his name is inside the file, I don't know if he'll probably lose. I don't know if he get impeached for that. I wonder, can he get impeached? Like, would a lot of people vote to get him impeached? But in my opinion, I think the longer that it goes on, the longer that they do not show, the more people are not going to like him. But then again, this is his last term. If this would have happened in his first term, I guarantee he would never got elected the first time. But since this is his second term, I really don't think he cares that much. And I think that's the reason why he kind of burnt his bridges with Elon Musk, because this is his second term. He don't care. But if he changes to where he can run the third time, then I think that he'll care. I think he'll make a way for get the Epstein files released. But since there's no third term, I just do not believe that it's a chance that he will release it, unless after he gone, then it get released. But since Democrats and Republicans both don't want the files released, it has to be something on both sides. It has to be something on both sides, because that's the only other way. That's the only other way the file's not getting released. That's the only way I can believe that. It got to be on both sides.
Complete denial and statement that all of this was just Epstein. Impossible to believe. In September 2009, Epstein also emailed a woman named Irina to tell her that Jess Staley is staying in the Berkeley Hotel in London tonight. Staley emailed Epstein the next day to say I should have taken your offer, according to the Times. There's also this book by one of the 60 Minutes correspondents called A Ticking Clock, where he says that he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, and he said, I want the tapes, I said to Maxwell at a table at Regency Bar. I know he was videotaping everyone. I want the tape of Trump with the girls. She didn't deny the existence of the tapes, but said, I don't know where they are. He apparently replied, ask Epstein, and she gave him a stern look and pointed a finger at my face. I'm the daughter of a press baron. I know the way you people think. If you do one side, you must do the other. If you get tapes on Trump, you have to do Clinton. Now, again, what you make of a third-hand source like this, talking to Ghislaine Maxwell, who apparently doesn't deny that some of these tapes exist, was she even telling the truth or just playing some game? Either way, this was all known about, not just by people after the fact, but allegedly by people during the fact. This is from Mark Epstein. It's sourced from Jeffrey Epstein. Quote, if I said what I know about both candidates, they'd have to cancel the election. That's what Jeffrey told me in 2016. So not even Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly were claiming this was all just between them. They were constantly insinuating that there were compromising things on various powerful people. What's funny is that Trump himself, even before he was in a position to declassify this stuff, had accused other powerful people of doing these things.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein.
That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
You also have the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was in touch with other convicted pedophiles. Larry Nasser, he was writing letters. So the idea, once again, that he was just by himself, off by himself, doing things on his island by himself, and then taking calls with people like Bill Gates simply for philanthropic advice, really pushes the bounds of belief. Don't forget,
Honestly, I just cannot believe that Epstein did it by himself. I can't believe you did it by yourself. And Epstein going from a teacher to becoming one of the richest men, and I don't think he became a billionaire, but even just getting millions and getting millions donated to your foundation, it's like, what are the chances of that happening? The chances of that happening? No. And then you having access to many powerful people. What are the chances of you having access to powerful people? Okay, you can have like 1 million, 2 million people. I mean, $1 million, $2 million donated to your foundation, but a lot of famous people, a lot of famous people coming to your island for one. A lot of famous or rich people donating to your organizations too. A lot of famous and famous and rich people you have access to, and then you telling me that you backtracking, Donald Trump backtrack and his cabinet backtracking like the head of the FBI, head of the DOJ, Donald Trump, I don't know, somebody else, but they backtracking it now, and you expect for somebody to believe that? Come on now. And that's what's going to ruin his legacy. But a lot of times Trump be ruining his legacy, and I don't really think he care about it. I just think Donald Trump have his own purpose, and he just want to get it done. I just don't think he care about any other thing than what he want.
close associate of Bill Gates was named a fallback executor on the will of Jeffrey Epstein, which he, by the way, said he was shocked by and he deeply regrets meeting Epstein. Bill Gates has said similar things to that effect. Of course, Bill Gates fraternized with Epstein after he was convicted of crimes. Previously, he told the Wall Street Journal, I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with him, but in fact, he met multiple times with him at his Manhattan townhouse. Now, once again, I have to say real quick, all of these people are innocent until proven guilty. All of them deny doing anything untoward. But my point is, there are already too many associations to make the lone trafficker theory make any sense. For example, Jean-Luc Brunel was somebody who apparently trafficked a bunch of people to Epstein, who himself abused a bunch of women and even was charged for it. He was charged for some really awful things and then later found dead in his cell. Interestingly, Epstein was actually a financier of Brunel's modeling agency, where a lot of this alleged abuse happened. So once again, the idea of the lone trafficker just doesn't make sense because Epstein's directly linked to another guy who was also abusing women. So after all of this, they're really asking you to believe the unbelievable. They're asking you to not believe what they've said about this case, both out of office and now in power. They're asking you to not believe public reporting linking Epstein to other known pedophiles. They're asking you not to believe suspicious circumstances regarding settlements of powerful people. They're asking you to believe that Epstein was just the greatest tax advisor and financial advisor on the planet that all of these billionaires needed to consult, despite the fact that there are entire organizations built around providing the same services as this without the, links to crimes. They're asking you to believe that when people are talking about Snow White and Beauty and the Beast, they're referencing Disneyland. And they're especially asking you to believe that they have found 900 new victims since reviewing these files and exactly 0 new perpetrators. So I'm just not buying it personally. I find it insulting to the intelligence of every single person who's ever looked at this story. And yeah, it really makes me feel like this was a appropriate time to launch a crime is legal merch collection, to be honest. So yeah, this is probably my last video on this for a while, but just disgusting.
All right, people, if you like this video right here, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you go check out my Twitch. Yeah, and I'm out. What's good, people? This is KM.Little right here. Thank you for watching this video. In this clip right here, I am showing you my different YouTube channels. They are in the link in the description. If you like this video, I'm pretty sure you will love my other channels. Also, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, and we out.